Oh, I'm feeling brave. We're going to try doing something quite big today. We're going to do darknests. General principles, what you need to know in order to beat darknests. Okay, so I did this already and I forgot one important thing, so I've got to do it all over again. What do you need? First of all, you need research, specifically military research, familiar research, darknest research. These are all things that will help you to beat nests. That's not to say you can't beat a low-level nest. You can beat one. But the higher the level nest, the better your research needs to be. Okay, so that's the research out the way, right? The other thing you need is maybe talents. If you're doing a really, really easy nest that you can walk over because you've got great research, then you don't really need the talents. I can beat a level 5 fairly reliably in farming talents. But yeah, a year ago I couldn't. A year ago I definitely needed not only my my war talents, I also used to use attack boost. So yeah, just to remind you where talents are, they're over here where you see the arrow, and I am currently in, as you can see, mixed talents, which means that I'm not actually as strong as I can be in certain respects. And another reason why I'm particularly pleased that I beat a level 6 nest this morning. So that's your talents. You would use your innate talent button to set that. And you can set up your talents, which is a completely different video, and there is one somewhere in there. But talents, okay. So if it's a difficult nest, you want to be in talents. Easy nest, easy enough nests, you don't have to worry too much. But yeah, if you like 300, 400 million might and trying your first level 5 nests, I would recommend maybe that you look at busy getting your talents in there, especially for a lot of your Midas troops, and not research. Okay, so that's talents. So what have we got? We've got research, we've got talents. Then we need to have heroes, familiars, and gear. And then there's also formation to consider. That is why it is a big subject. So let's look at heroes. Your heroes all have different types of troops that they command. You have ranged heroes, which command ranged troops, and they give you ranged boosts. And you have infantry heroes and you have cavalry heroes. And you have some general heroes. Rose Knight is one of them. Rose Knight is beneficial to everything because it has got army attack boost. And the other one that's good for everything, which is also why I recommend this as one of the early heroes to upgrade, is your Bombing Goblin. Again, full army attack boost. Later on, you can also get Watcher, which is a generalized hero, but it takes you a long time to get Watcher. So we're not even going to look at that. And what you will notice about the heroes that I'm sort of tapping on and saying, oh, this is this hero or that hero, is they're all offering some kind of attack. Attack is very important. HP is also quite important, but attack is the most important thing. And I would not use this, for example, on a ranged nest. It's not going to help me because it commands infantry troops. It boosts infantry troops, not going to help me if I'm going to send it against range, not going to help me if I send it against cav. So your hero set is also very important. And obviously, the stronger your heroes are, the better these boosts are. I've got gold level 60 heroes. Kind of helps. When you start out, you don't have gold level 60 heroes, and you need to be a little bit more cautious. But you can still use them. It doesn't mean, low level nest, you can beat this with silver heroes. It's not a problem. But obviously, the stronger your heroes are, the better. So, okay, we've done heroes. Let's see if I can remember what else. We still have to do familiars. Okay, you've got various attack familiars that you can send when you set a march. And find one that I actually use, this one here. That would be this army talent here. So for this army talent to work for me, I have to deploy the familiar into battle. And that happens when I set up the dark nest. So I'm going to do an example. You're going to see my comp, who cares? I don't have a ton of people watching my YouTube videos anyway, and hopefully only 1 or 2 of them are in my kingdom. We're going to look at that. But you would deploy familiars, and you would deploy as many as you have opened slots for. And the opening of familiar slots depends on research. And yeah, the familiars also depend on how you've developed your familiars. We were talking about familiars in, I think, the last video. So if you want to know more about familiars, go and check that out. You need to be very particular about which familiar battle skills you awaken, because you want to get good boosts on the specific ones that you send, because if you haven't deployed it, it isn't useful to you. So, for instance, we can have a look at my wall. Over here, I have got familiars on my wall station over here. Here you can see I have got a mixture of heroes. I've used 3 general heroes, Watcher, Bombing Goblin, and Rose Knight. I'm sending a ranged hero, which is Snow Queen, and I am sending an infantry hero over there, Demon Slayer. And I've chosen these familiars to put on my wall. I've got 4 attack slots open, which is quite a lot. Getting that far is quite a business. I would recommend that you aim for 3 as a start. You know, even 1 or 2 is going to help you. And for low-level nests, you don't need this. You just don't. So here's where you deploy them, and you can see what they do. So over here, we are at the start of the battle, reducing enemy infantry HP. This one, army HP, increasing mine. This one here, reducing enemies' cavalry max HP, and this one here reducing the entire army that attacks me HP regardless of what it's sending. Now the reason why I chose these ones for my wall is because I don't want 10% of my troops to have fallen before my familiars kick in. I want them kicking in right at the start of the battle, and for that these guys are pretty good. They're nice general familiars, but I wouldn't use most of them for attack, I don't think. I might use Aquarius. Aquarius is very nice. I might use the Maggot as well. He's not bad. But yeah, in general, I would not normally use these familiars. But they're on the wall because they're nice general familiars. In attack, you want completely a different thing. You want to go in there, you want to hit as hard as you can. You're expecting troops to fall. And when troops fall, you want your familiar to kick in. So that's familiars. Then we've got gear. We've done heroes, we've done familiars. Done research. Let's go gear, and then we can look at formations. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, over here I am in ranged gear, and that is determined by what these pieces do. And if you have a look, it all says various things, but on there you have ranged attack right at the bottom. I want that. I mean, over here I've got very nice ranged attack. I want that for a ranged nest. It's my ranged set. Everything in here has got ranged attack, ranged HP. That's what I want. So I'm using the correct gear. When you start out, you are probably not going to have, well, you're definitely not going to have this kind of gear at your disposal. So you're going to use the best that you have at hand. But you are at the same time going to target attack for the type of troop that you're sending, because you want to boost those troops that you're sending so that they beat up what's in the nest. So far, so good. Pardon me. Okay. Formations. Over here. For a ranged nest, I would go with a cavalry wedge. That is, again, a research that you've got to unlock. Oh, dear. Everything is research-based. But this is a very, very nice formation for ranged attack because it puts the ranged at the back. Now, what would I send? If it's a nest that I'm attacking with ranged, I would only send a sprinkling of cavalry and a sprinkling of infantry, and I've seen lots of ways of doing it. But the way that I've always done and always works for me is I go for 12 to 16. 16 is actually more correct. 4 troops fills up one of those spaces. So you can see there's 4 horses over there. If I send 16 tier 2 or tier 3 or tier 4, we ideally don't want to send tier 3 to a level 5 nest, by the way. Tier 3s are really bad. But if I would go with tier 4, to be honest with you. If I send 16 tier 4, they're over there. They're occupying that space. They're holding the formation. Same again for the infantry. 16 holding the formation, and the rest of the troops all ranged, boosting it with ranged talents, gear, familiars, the lot. Heroes. So I'm definitely blasting this nest out of the water. And because my range is at the back, here in the front, these troops will distract the nest for a few vital seconds. And that allows me to do more damage. Just to run you very, very quickly through the other formations, this I would use for a ranged attack, this I would use for a cav attack, and this I would use for an inf attack. And the same principle holds true. Your main type of troop is in the back row. Fantastic. Okay. Of course, you still could get messed over by the nest's formation. It's entirely possible. And the one thing you don't see on a scout report is formation. So you'll still get guys attacking a nest that's a bit challenging and going, oh, bad formation, and leaving it. And that's fine, because sometimes the nest has got a bad formation and you don't know how to beat it, and then it's rather best to leave it, because just chucking the same thing at it over and over again is not going to make any difference. Okay. So let's do a nest. Let's do one. I am going to my scout reports over here. Let's just quickly look through a few of these. Here we are. I scouted a level 1. I thought, if my team sees me doing this, they're going to They're going to laugh. I would normally just attack a level 1. I wouldn't bother. But, I mean, if you're starting out, you've got a little brown castle, you've only got tier 1 troops. Yeah, you need to scout that nest. You need to know what's in it. And in this instance, what would you send? You would send ranged. Because ranged counters the cavalry. There's no infantry in the nest to counter your ranged. You're going ranged on ranged at worst. And that sort of cancels each other out to a large degree. Definitely a ranged nest here. If you're going in with tier 1s, that's what I would use. You know, if it's still a challenging nest, you don't have the gear, you don't have all the bits and bobs and shiny stuff, you should still be able to beat this with tier 1 ranged, with a bit of luck. I found also level 2 nest over here, also for ranged. Same principle, you're countering and you're matching. I like match and counter, it really, really works. Mixed nest, it's a bit of a gamble. I can still walk through a level 4 nest most times. I would go and have a look, see what it's got, at least. But yeah, and in this case, I would go with the cavalry because the nest is mostly infantry and cavalry. It does have some ranged, which might shoot me up a little bit. But yeah, it's inevitable with this mixed nest. Now, because I know I can beat it, I've got no problem. And you'll soon develop a feeling for what you can beat and what you can't beat. I can remember being very thrilled to beat a level 4 nest. But that was a long time ago. But yeah, that's a mixed nest. If it were a level 5 nest, then these would probably mostly be tier 4 troops. And I would be a little bit nervous about taking on a mixed nest if I want to win. And obviously you want to win. So, you know, even at level 5, which is something I can do in growth talents, I would normally not go for a mixed nest. And I found this level 24, which I really, really like. And again, this is following the same principle. The nest has got ranged. The nest has got cavalry. What am I going to send? I'm going to send ranged. Because my ranged can beat up the nest's horses. The nest has got ranged as well. It's going to clash against my ranged. But there's no counter. There's no infantry in that nest to hurt my ranged. So let's go ranged. Let's set this thing. Okay, come on. Taking your time, aren't you? There we are. Okay, and I've got this set up on a battalion, so I can really do it really fast. I will change my troops because I've got it on an attack battalion. Anyway, which also needs revising, but that's another story. Okay, 10 minutes. We're going to do it. So, there we are. And I'm going to go 16. 16. That's just to hold my formation. And there's my ranged. And there are my familiars. Griffin, which is a very good general familiar. Trickstar, which is the best. This guy will come out every time you lose 10% of your troops. So it will come out when you've lost 10%. You lost another 10%, it comes out again. And every time he gives you an awesome attack boost on that specific type of troops. There is a familiar that does that for infantry. There is a familiar that does that for cavalry. This is the one that does it for range, Trickstar. And then, yes, there we go, my Aquarius and my Evil Weevil. I wonder, I might even be able to do better than that, but I'll stick with that for now. It works for me. All right, so, and you can see my heroes, all ranged heroes over here, except for Watcher, which is a general hero. But because he's a general hero, he helps all kinds of troops. So let's go. And we're going to call that for 10 minutes. And we're off. Okay. So let's tell the guys ranged 24. That's so that they know it's a 24 essence. They don't have 24 essence. They've got lower essence. They can delete that and get hopefully the right thing. Check that I'm in the right formation. Yes, I am. Check that I'm in the right gear. Yes, I am. Now I can sit back and wait. So hopefully that clarifies darkness for you somewhat. And I hope I've covered everything this time. I bet you hope so too.